Imagine for a moment that you are the only person on this planet capable of achieving your dreams. Picture a world where your potential is limitless, where your abilities are unmatched, where your vision is unparalleled. Now, I want you to hold on to that feeling, because today we're going to explore what it truly means to act as if no one can compete with you. You see, my friends, the greatest tragedy in life is not death. The greatest tragedy is to live a life without purpose, to walk this earth without knowing your true value. And that's why we're here today. To awaken the giant within you, to ignite the fire of your potential, and to unleash the power that has been dormant inside you for far too long. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly achieve greatness while others struggle to make even the smallest progress? The answer, my friends, lies not in their circumstances, not in their resources, but in their mindset. It's in the way they perceive themselves and the world around them. You see, when you act as if no one can compete with you, you're not being arrogant. You're not dismissing the talents and abilities of others. Instead, you're acknowledging the unique gifts that God has bestowed upon you. You're recognizing that you have been created for a specific purpose, that you have been endowed with talents and abilities that are uniquely yours. Think about for a moment. Out of all the billions of people who have ever lived, there has never been and will never be another you. Your fingerprints, your DNA, your thoughts, your experiences. So what then? Do we spend so much of our lives trying to be like someone else? Why do we waste our energy competing with others when we should be focusing on becoming the best version of ourselves? The truth is, my friends, that the only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're not saying that you're better than everyone else. You're saying that you're committed to being better than you were before. You're declaring that you're on a journey of continuous improvement, that you're dedicated to maximizing your potential. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be saying, but I'm not special. I'm just an ordinary person. Let me single one of you has been created with extraordinary potential. The problem is not that you lack potential. The problem is that you haven't yet discovered it. You see, potential is like a seed. It's dormant until it's planted in the right environment and nurtured with the right care. And that's what we're doing here today. We are creating an environment where your potential can flourish. We're providing the nourishment your dreams need to grow. But here's the thing. Potential without action is like a car without fuel. It might look impressive, but it won't take you anywhere. That's why acting as if no one can compete with you is so crucial. It's not about sitting back and waiting for success to come to you. It's about taking bold, decisive action toward your goals. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you stop making excuses. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop asking for permission to be great. Instead, you start taking responsibility for your life. You start creating opportunities instead of waiting for them. You start living with intention and purpose. Let me be clear. Acting as if no one can compete with you doesn't mean that you'll never face challenges or setbacks. In fact, if you're not facing challenges, it probably means you're not dreaming big enough. The road to success is really smooth. It's filled with obstacles, detours, and unexpected turns. But here's the beautiful thing. When you act as if no one can compete with you, these challenges become opportunities. They become chances for you to prove your resilience, to showcase your creativity, to demonstrate your unwavering commitment to your goals. You see, success is not about avoiding failure. It's about using failure as a stepping stone to greatness. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you don't let failure define you. Just let it refine you. Think about some of the greatest achievers in history. Do you think they never faced failure? Of course they did. But what set them apart was their ability to keep going, to learn from their mistakes, to use their failures as fuel for their success. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When he was working on inventing the light bulb, He failed over 1,000 times. But when a reporter asked him how it felt to fail 1,000 times, Edison replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." That, my friends, is the mindset of someone who acts as if no one can compete with them. Or consider the Wright brothers. When they were trying to invent the airplane, everyone told them it was impossible. The leading scientists of their time said that if God had meant for man to fly, he would have given us wings. But the Wright brothers didn't listen to the naysayers. They acted as if no one could compete with them, and as a result, they changed the course of human history. Now, I'm not saying that you need to invent the next light bulb or airplane, but I am saying that you need to approach your goals, your dreams, your life's purpose with the same level of determination and self-belief. Because when you act as if no one can compete with you, you tap into a power that most people never access. You see, there's a fundamental truth that many people fail to understand. Your perception becomes your reality. If you perceive yourself as powerless, as a victim of circumstances, guess what? That's exactly what you'll become. But if you perceive yourself as powerful, as capable of achieving anything you set your mind to, then that's what you'll become. It's like the story of the two wolves. An old Cherokee chief was teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me. This is a terrible fight. And it is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continued, the other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf?" The old chief simply replied, "The one you feed." My friends, when you act as if no one can compete with you, you're feeding the wolf of self-belief, of confidence, of determination. You're nourishing the part of you that knows you were created for greatness. Let me be clear. No one can compete with you. It's not about comparing yourself to others. It's not about putting others down, lift yourself up. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you truly believe in your own potential, you don't need to compete with anyone else. You're free to celebrate the success of others because you know that their success doesn't diminish your own. Think about it like this. When you light a candle from another candle, does the first candle lose any of its light? Of course not. In the same way, when you help others succeed, when you celebrate their achievements, you're not losing anything. You're creating more light in the world. That's why acting as if no one can compete with you is not about isolation. It's not about going it alone. It's about recognizing your unique value and using it to contribute to the world in a way that only you can. You see, we live in a world that often tries to put us in boxes, to categorize us, to limit us. But when you act as if no one can compete with you, you refuse to be defined by those limitations. You refuse to let others tell you what you can or can't do. You refuse to settle for less than you're capable of achieving. Now, I know that this might sound intimidating. You might be thinking, but what if I fail? What if I put myself out there and things don't work out? Let me tell you something. The only true failure in life is the failure to try. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're not guaranteeing success in every endeavor. What you're guaranteeing is that you'll give your all, that you'll learn from every experience, that you'll grow with every challenge. And in the end, isn't that what life is all about? Growing, learning, becoming the best version of yourself. You see, no. Your success is not a destination. It's not a point you reach and then stop. Success is a journey, a continuous process of becoming. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're committing to that journey. You'll say, I may not be where I want to be yet, but I'm determined to get there. But now let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear is one of the biggest obstacles that prevents people from acting as if no one can compete with them. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown known. These fears can paralyze us, keeping us stuck in our comfort zones. Here's the thing about fear. It's often a sign that you're on the right track. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you don't let fear stop you. Instead, you use it as fuel. You recognize that on the other side of fear is growth, is achievement, is the life you've always dreamed of. Think about a time when you were afraid to do something, but you did it anyway. Maybe it was public speaking or asking someone out on a date or applying for a job you thought was out of your league. How did you feel afterward? Even if things didn't go perfectly, I bet you felt a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment. That's the power of acting as if no one can compete with you. It pushes you beyond your perceived limitations. Now, I want to address something important. Acting as if no one can compete with you doesn't mean that you never need help or support. In fact, one of the traits of truly successful people is their ability to build strong networks, to surround themselves with people who believe in them and support their vision. Think about any great achiever in history. Did they accomplish everything on their own? Of course not. They had mentors, supporters, teammates. They knew how to leverage the strengths of others to achieve their goals. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're not saying you don't need anyone else. You're saying that you're confident enough in your own abilities to seek out and appreciate the strengths of others. Without building a puzzle. Each piece is unique and essential, but it's only when all the pieces come together that you can see the full picture. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you become clear about what piece of the puzzle you are. You understand your unique contribution, and you're able to appreciate how others contribute to the bigger picture. Now, let's talk about vision for a moment. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you need to have a clear vision of where you're going. It's not enough to just believe in yourself. You need to know what you're believing in yourself for. Vision is like the North Star. It guides you, it orients you, it keeps you on track when things get tough. When you have a clear vision and you act as if no one can compete with you, you become unstoppable. Think about the great visionaries of our time. They didn't just have dreams. They had visions so compelling that they were willing to dedicate their lives to making them a reality. And when obstacles came, as they always do, they found a way around all through those obstacles because they were committed to their vision. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you become the author of your own story. You stop being a character in someone else's narrative and start writing your own epic tale. And let me tell you, there's nothing more empowering than that. Now, I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, but isn't it arrogant to act as if no one can compete with me? Let me be clear. There's a big difference between arrogance and confidence. Arrogance comes from insecurity. It's about putting others down to lift yourself up. Confidence, on the other hand, comes from a deep understanding of your own worth. It's about lifting yourself up so you can lift others with you. When you truly act as if no one can compete with you, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to put others down or dismiss their achievements. Instead, you're free to celebrate the success of others because you know that their success doesn't diminish your own. Think about it like this. The sun doesn't compete with other stars. It just shines. And in shining, it gives life to everything around it. That's what it means to act as if no one can compete with you. You're not competing. You're shining. And in shining, you're inspiring others to shine as well. Now, let's talk about persistence. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you develop an unshakable persistence. You understand that success is not about avoiding failure. It's about persisting through failure. It's about getting up one more time, then you fall down. Think about any great achievement in history. Do you think happened overnight? Of course not. It was the result of persistent effort. of refusing to give up even when things seem impossible. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you develop that same level of persistence. You understand that temporary setbacks are just that, temporary. It's like the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant the seed, nothing happens for the first year. No shoots, no leaves, nothing. The second year, still nothing. The third and fourth year, still no sign of growth. But in the fifth year, something amazing happens. The bamboo tree suddenly shoots up, growing up to 80 feet in just 6 weeks. How did the tree grow 80 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it grow 80 feet in 5 years? The answer, of course, is 5 years. For those first 4 years, the tree was developing a root system strong enough to support its rapid growth. And that's exactly what happens when you act as if no one can compete with you. You might not see immediate results, but you're developing the foundation for massive success. Let's talk about authenticity for a moment. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're not trying to be someone else. You're not trying to copy someone else's path to success. Instead, you're embracing your unique strengths, your unique perspective, your unique journey. You see, there's only one you in this world. No one else has your exact combination of experiences, talents, and perspectives. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're honoring that uniqueness. You're saying, this is who I am, and I'm going to make the most of it. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. What sets them apart isn't just their skills or their knowledge. It's their authenticity. It's their willingness to be themselves, to share their unique perspective with the world. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're tapping into that same power. Now, I want to address something important. Acting as if no one can compete with you doesn't mean that you never experience doubt or insecurity. Even the most successful people have moments of self-doubt. The difference is in how they handle those moments. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you don't let doubt define you. You acknowledge it, you learn from it, but you don't let it stop you. Instead, you use it as a signal to reassess, to grow, to become even stronger. Think about doubt like a muscle. The more you push through it, the stronger you become. Each time you face your doubts and keep going anyway, you're building your resilience, your confidence, your ability to achieve great things. Let's talk about gratitude for a moment. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you develop a deep sense of gratitude. You're grateful for your talents, for your opportunities, for the challenges that help you grow. You're grateful for the people who support you, for the lessons you learn along the way. Gratitude is like fuel for your success. It keeps you grounded, it keeps you humble, and it keeps you focused on what truly matters. When you're grateful, you're not focused on what you lack. Instead, you're focused on making the most of what you have. Think about it like this. In the morning when you wake up, you have two choices. You can focus on what you don't have, on the obstacles in your way, on the people who doubt you. Or you can focus on what you do have, on the opportunities ahead of you, on the people who believe in you. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you choose the latter. You choose gratitude, and in doing so, you set yourself up for success. Now, let's talk about the power of your mindset. Your mind is like a garden. The thoughts you plant and nurture are the ones that will grow. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're planting seeds of success. You're creating a mindset that empowers you to reach your full potential. But here's the thing. Just like a garden, your mind needs constant care and attention. You can't plant the seeds of success once and expect them to grow forever. You need to water them daily with positive affirmations, with visualization, with action towards your goals. Think about some of the most successful athletes in the world. Do you think they just show up on game day and expect to perform at their best? Of course not. They spend countless hours practicing, visualizing success. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you adopt that same level of mental preparation. And I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, but what about humility? Isn't it important to be humble? And you're absolutely right. Humility is crucial. Here's the thing. True humility isn't about thinking less of yourself less. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're not saying you're better than everyone else. You're saying that you're committed to being the best version of yourself. You're saying that you're going to make the most of the gifts you've been given. That's not arrogance. That's stewardship. Think about it like this. If someone gave you a priceless work of art to take care of, would you hide it away in a closet? Would you let it gather dust and decay? Of course not. You display it proudly. You take care of it. You'd make sure it was seen and appreciated. Well, your life, your talents, your potential, they're that priceless work of art. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you're honoring the gift you've been given. Now, let's talk about the importance of continuous learning. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you become a lifelong learner. You'll understand that knowledge is power, and you're constantly seeking to expand your understanding, to develop new skills, to grow in every area of your life. Think about some of the most successful people in any field. What do they all have in common? They're all voracious learners. They're always reading, always studying, always seeking to improve. When you act as if no one can compete with you and you adopt that same hunger for knowledge and growth, one thing, learning isn't just about acquiring information. It's about applying what you learn. It's about turning knowledge into wisdom. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you don't just learn for the sake of learning. You learn with purpose, with intention, always looking for ways to apply your knowledge to achieve your goals. Now, let's talk about the power of your words. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you become very careful about the words you use, both when speaking to others and when speaking to yourself. You understand that your words have power, that they can create or destroy. Think about them. How often do we sabotage ourselves with our own words? How often do we say things like, I can't do this, or this is too hard for me, or I'm not good enough? When you act as if no one can compete with you, you eliminate that kind of negative self-talk. Instead, you use words that empower you, that inspire you, that push you. What? Not just about the words you say to yourself. It's also about the words you say to others. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you become a source of encouragement and inspiration for those around you. You use your words to lift others up, to help them see their own potential, to inspire them to reach for their dreams. No, let's talk about the importance of taking action. You see, acting as if no one can compete with you isn't just about mindset. It's about action. It's about taking bold, decisive steps towards your goals. It's not being willing to do what others aren't willing to do in order to achieve what others. Think about it like this. Knowledge without action is like a car without fuel. It might look as if, but it won't take you anywhere. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you don't just dream big, you act big. You take consistent, persistent action towards your goals. But here's the thing. Taking action doesn't always mean making giant leaps. Sometimes it means taking small, consistent steps. It's like the story of the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady progress, day after day, week after week, can lead to incredible results over time. Come on. No. I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, but what if I fail? What if I take action and things don't work out? And that's a valid concern. But here's the truth. It's part of success. When you act as if no one can compete with you. You don't fear failure. You embrace it. You understand that every failure is a lesson. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. You know that the only real failure is the failure to try, the failure to learn, the failure to keep going. Think about some of the most successful people in history. Do you think they never failed? Of course they did. But what set them apart was their ability to learn from their failures, to use them as stepping stones to success. When you act as if no one can compete with you, You do that same resilience, that same ability to turn obstacles into opportunities. Now let's talk about the importance of focus. In today's world, we are bombarded with distractions. There's always something vying for our attention, always something trying to pull us away from our goals. But when you act as if no one can compete with you, you develop laser-like focus. Sunlight is warm and pleasant, but when you focus sunlight through a magnifying glass, it becomes powerful enough to start a fire. Your energy, your efforts, your talents, they're like that sunlight. When you focus them intensely on your goals, you become unstoppable. Focus. It's about working hard. It's about working smart. It's about knowing what to focus on and what to ignore. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you become very clear about your priorities. You understand what truly matters and what's just noise. Now, let's talk about the power of visualization. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you develop a vivid, compelling vision of your future. You don't just hope for success. You see it, you feel it, you experience it in your mind before it becomes reality. Think about some of the greatest athletes in the world. Before they step onto the field or the court, they've already played the game in their minds. They've visualized every move, every play, every possible scenario. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you adopt that same level of mental preparation. But visualization isn't just for athletes. It's a powerful tool for anyone who wants to achieve great things. When you clearly visualize your goals, your mind starts to work on ways to achieve them. It's like programming your subconscious to work towards your success 24 hours. Now, I want to address something important. Acting as if no one can compete with you doesn't mean that you ignore reality or live in a fantasy world. It means that you see reality clearly, but you also see the potential for change, for growth, for improvement. You see not just what is, but what could be. Think about some of the greatest inventors and innovators in history. They didn't accept the world as it was. They imagined how it could be better, and then they worked tirelessly to make that vision a reality. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you develop that same ability to see beyond the current limitations, to imagine new possibilities. Now, let's talk about the importance of relationships. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you understand the power of surrounding yourself with the right people. You seek out mentors who can guide you, peers who can challenge you, and supporters who can encourage you. Think about it like this. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. When you act as if no one can come compete with you, you become very intentional about who those 5 people are. You seek out relationships that uplift you, that challenge you, that push you to be your best self. But it's not just about what others can do for you. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you also become a source of inspiration and support for others. You lift others up as you climb. You understand that true success isn't just about personal achievement. It's about making a positive impact on the world around you. Now, let's talk about the power of passion. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you tap into a deep well of passion for what you do. You're not just working for a paycheck or for recognition. You're working because you love what you do, because you believe in what you're doing. Think about some of the most successful people in any field. What sets them apart isn't just their skills or their knowledge. It's their passion. It's their ability to pour their heart and soul into their work. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you bring that same level of passion. Passion isn't always about feeling excited or energized. Sometimes it's about pushing through even when things are tough. It's about staying committed to your goals even when you don't feel motivated. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you develop that kind of deep, enduring passion that can carry you through any challenge. Now, I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, but what about balance? Isn't it important to have a balanced life? And you're absolutely right. Balance is crucial. But here doesn't mean doing everything equally. It means doing the right things at the right time. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you become very intentional about how you spend your time and energy. You understand that sometimes you need to push hard towards your goals. Other times, you need to rest and recharge. You become skilled at knowing when to sprint and when to recover. Think about it like this. Life is not sprint. At a marathon, if no one can compete with you, you're not just focused on short-term gains. You're playing the long game. You're building sustainable success that can last a lifetime. In conclusion, my friends, acting as if no one can compete with you is not about arrogance or dismissing the talents of others. It's about recognizing your own unique value, about tapping into your full potential, about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about living with purpose, with passion, with unwavering commitment to your goals. Remember, you are unique. There has never been and will never be another you. You have been created with specific talents, specific gifts, specific purposes that only you can fulfill. When you act as if no one can compete with you, you are honoring those gifts. You're living up to your full potential. Not you today. Act as if no one can compete with you. Not because you're better than everyone else, but because you're committed to being the best version of yourself. Dream big, work hard, stay focused, never give up, and above all, believe in yourself. Because when you truly believe in yourself, when you act as if no one can compete with you, you will become unstoppable. The world is waiting for you to shine. It's waiting for you to share your unique gifts, your unique talents, your unique perspective. Don't hold back. Don't play small. Step into your greatness. Act as if no one can compete with you. Because the truth is, in being authentically, unapologetically you, no one can. Thank you.